Well, good Friday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Happy Friday. Happy Fantasy Friday right here on the Early Bird Special. Today, we'll finish up our fantasy list, wrapping up with tight ends and defenses. Plus, we'll get into, of course, the Micah news. Micah is now a cheesehead. We'll get into that. We'll get into some baseball news as a Philadelphia Philly hit 4 home runs in a single game. We've got a list of the other 20 players that have done that over 100 plus years.
Who cares? Kyle's the best one to do it.
We'll have Chris Flail, local comedian, joining us at 8 o'clock as he usually does every other Friday. Plus, I want to bounce off the craziest punishments for last place fantasy owners. And
these get interesting, man.
Yes,
We've seen a couple of baseball games recently where they've had to dress up as a clown.
I want to hear what
wild.
your fantasy leagues have done in the past for the last place teams. Text them in 661-842-2000. Plus, we have Kyle Pitzer, the owner of Dionysus Brewing, joining us at 8:30 to preview their specials that they'll be doing for the Clash in Paris this Sunday.
Honestly, I've never been in a league where there's been a punishment. I've always wanted to, though. And I've pitched it the last couple of years to my friends in my friend league because I would never do it, obviously, in the work league. That's ridiculous.
That's the only league I've done it in is
really?
At Moneywise. They've had it where you have to have a sign that says, I suck at fantasy football, and you have to stay on the busiest corner right there on Stockdale and Gosford.
Right next to the guy that used to spin for Little Caesars?
No, that's the street past it. Stockdale
okay.
and Gosford.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. You're right
there on
You're
our
right.
corner.
You're up closer to Burger King.
But we get a lot of Cal State kids honking and laughing at us.
That's
so
fantastic.
Luckily, I've never had to do it. But my buddy Chris Pelser has done it a couple times.
It's fun when it's tasteful, right? I mean, a buddy of mine, he is in one where last place guy has to take a beer shower. I find it kind of gross. Don't get me wrong. We had to pour an entire case and a half of Natty Light on my buddy one year. But
a league I played with, Earthman, he had to do the whole draft in a pink cheerleading outfit. And I have the pictures,
awesome,
which I will post after the show today.
Please do. That is fantastic. Well, talking about fans who are absolutely depressed right now, let's hear from the reaction down in Dallas as the big news from yesterday. Micah Parsons finally getting shipped out of Dallas. Jerry Jones says he's had enough, and the Green Bay Packers have decided to step up to take on Micah Parsons and his new contract. Here is a live reaction from some Dallas fans from, when this actually took place.
Wait, is this real? Wow! That's really all we got. 2 first-round picks. Why would we trade him to the Packers of all people? 2 first-rounders! We traded him for 2 first-rounders! I'm not watching football this year. I promise you. This got to be the worst trade in Cowboys history. There's going to be a press conference tonight. I can't wait to hear what Jerry's going to say here. I hate Jerry Jones! He just traded a generational talent in his prime for 2 first-round picks! Why would you do this right before the season? Jerry! Maybe there was something wrong with his back. I'm not watching football this year. I ain't going to no game. I just bought a Micah Parsons jersey. Who is Kenny Clark? Get Jerry Jones out of there by any means possible. We play the Eagles week 1. What is Kenny Clark gonna do? We didn't have to trade him. We had his right for the next 3 years. Make him sit out and lose money. First Luka, now Micah. Why? Jerry Jones has gone insane. He may not know how to negotiate. I was excited for this year. Now I gotta listen to Packers fans. We got blown out by the Packers, and now they got Micah. I would have paid him $47 million. That's gonna look like nothing in a couple years. You know how hard it is to be a Cowboys fan? It's the worst trade ever. 2 first-round picks. 2 late-round first picks right before the season? I have nothing to look forward to. Are we tanking for Arch Manning? Why would we pay Dak and CD, but not Micah? I hate you, Jerry Jones. I hate you.
Oh, shout out to Shooter Magruder. I love that guy on Instagram. But I do believe that's essentially what Dallas fans are feeling right now. They are betrayed. And not just in football, now in basketball and football, you traded away 2 of the biggest names in the city and 2 generational talents in the same year. I feel for him. I do. We've been talking about it the last couple weeks. We didn't expect Micah Parsons to be staying in Dallas. It genuinely felt like this was a divorce, as Adam Schefter had been putting it. And now he's headed off to a rival team. That's the one that I didn't understand. Now, you guys know how I feel about interdivision trades. That never happens. Never. Especially in places like the NFC East. Anybody in the NFC East was not going to have any chance at all at getting Micah Parsons. But to trade him to the Packers? The Packers. The team that traditionally kicks your butt out of the playoffs. That is wild by Jerry Jones. And I think this is also a message being sent by Jerry Jones. Because, hear me out, he wanted multiple first rounders, which he got. But we're talking about the Packers, who arguably could potentially win their division this year. So these first round draft picks aren't exactly going to be great first rounders. They're going to be late first rounders.
If.
And I don't think Jerry necessarily took the best deal. I think this is one of those situations where Jerry was just fed up and said, well, this deal was already on the table. Take it. I'm out. I don't want this kid.
I have to give it to him, dude.
Really?
I personally, I heard everybody complaining. Obviously, if I was a Cowboy fan, I'd probably have a different answer to this one. But I personally, I have to give him props. He stood his ground and he didn't budge. I don't think it was the best football decision, but he got his 2 first rounders. Supposedly there was 3 or 4 teams that were in the hunt. I guess there was over 20 teams that reached out.
Naturally.
But what if Schefter said this morning on Unsportsmanlike that they pretty much locked it down to 3 or 4 teams a couple days ago. And the last meeting that Jerry had with his agent, it didn't go well. He told him, he's going to play on this final year or he can play elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. So I have to give him props at least. I don't know how this will all work out. I guess there was 3 or 4 other players that they had reached out for. I know Xavier McKinney was one of them. He also wanted one of the rookie linemen. But I have to give it to him. I mean, they immediately saved $50 million in salary cap. Now I just want to see how serious he can be, because I know he had mentioned that he can use these picks now and trade for a player. Obviously, you're not going to just replace Micah overnight, and it's not going to happen before the season kicks off. But it'd be interesting, just as a GM or just football fan, to see what he does with these draft picks.
I'm expecting him to use them. I think Dallas holds on to these, or maybe you're right. Maybe they use them in packages to maybe trade up in those drafts, because I still feel like these picks are maybe going to be in the 20s, if not later. Because, I mean, the Packers are a good team. They're a fantastic
as long as they can stay healthy. That's the thing with football. You never know. Until football starts, you never know. Obviously, what the predictions are, the Packers should be a top 4, top 5 team in the NFC. We'll see.
And that's why, I don't know. I think that this definitely bolsters the Packers defense as well, puts them in a prime position to take down guys like the Lions, because now you have a premier pass rusher that you haven't had in quite some time. I mean, I think Clay Matthews is the last one that comes to mind for me that they had that was a dominant force like this. And Dreyer signing him to a 4-year, $188 million extension, making him $5 million higher than TJ Watt as the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Whether that contract comes back to bite the city of Green Bay in the butt or not, we'll find out.
I just personally think it was I'm happy that he didn't go to the Patriots. I figure if he was going to trade anyone, it would be the other 16 teams in the conference. I really, that was the surprise to me, that he traded it not only to the Packers, but a team in the NFC. But we'll see how it pans out.
And all of this can be seen as one giant message as well, or at least lesson, that the handshake deals of old aren't really there anymore, right? Because that's essentially where all this stems from. I heard Rich Eisen talk about it yesterday. It was in his reaction video online. All of this has to deal with the handshake deal. Something had to have happened that just set Jerry off, where he thinks that the Parsons camp wanted to turn back on the deal that they had already agreed on. And it just created this entire festering hatred, I guess, between the two camps is the best way to put it. And that's how they moved on. And Because, I mean, we heard from Micah, what was that, a year ago? I mean, we have audio that we're going to play here in a second of him and Jordan Love talking on Micah's
in
podcast.
February.
And Jordan pitched it to him as any sensible quarterback would. You don't want to play against Micah Parsons. You want Micah Parsons on your team. So, I mean, this is something that obviously has been pitched around. But I don't think Jerry Jones coming into this season had any plan to get rid of Micah Parsons until that deal that he saw was supposed to be done, essentially got thrown out the window. And I don't know who's telling the truth here. I don't know if Jerry's telling the truth that they had a deal at all, or Mike is is telling the truth that they never had a deal and Mulugeta never got an offer sheet. We'll probably never know, to be honest with you. It'll be a he said, she said thing forever. But I mean,
I know listening to the Michael Irvin reaction that this has been Jerry's way for years.
Yeah.
Whether you're Jerry's boys or not, that, goes back to players like, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin even said,
right.
We always had the handshake deal. And he said, he was shocked, obviously, as a longtime Cowboy, that Jerry would pull the trigger on this one. But he was also saying, if you're a part of the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the most valuable team in all sports, blah, 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 blah. But Jerry's always been the handshake guy. And going back to what you were saying, Jordan Love joining Micah on his podcast in February, and this is the conversation that they had.
Is there anybody particular around the league that you feel like should come into the organization, can make an impact for y'all?
I mean, the dude sitting right next to me, man. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, no? You don't think so? You don't think so? How you feel about that? What would your take be on coming to Green Bay, man? Oh, there's too many Cowboy fans in the audience. There's too many Cowboy fans. My fault.
All right, listen.
My fault.
I'm in one of them Drewski 360 deals. You feel me? I'm a for lifer.
I like that.
I can't go nowhere.
I like that.
Man, Jerry Jones, we done talked. That's my dog.
See, he said it right there. Back in February, we talked. We had the conversation. But that's kind of my point, is that isn't the way business is done anymore. I know Jerry's an old school guy. I get that. I know a lot of people listening to my voice right now are probably saying you're too young to understand. I get that too. But we live in a society now where if it's not on paper, it ain't proof.
Mean anything.
Jack Diddley does not matter. If it's not in some sort of documentation, it never happened. So the handshake deal, whether these old players like Michael Irvin want to say, oh, that's how we've always done, doesn't matter, dude. Does not matter. Just as the money from back then is not the money you get today, the deals you make aren't the same. So I think that's what really all this boils down to, is Jerry feels scorned by this. And we're really going to see what's going to happen here in week 4 when these two teams meet, I believe, in Dallas. And we're going to see probably the same reaction we saw for Nico when it came to the Mavericks trading away Luka.
Playing the Lakers.
First time they showed Jerry Jones on that screen in week 1. I'm expecting some boos. And I don't even know if they're at home in week 1. I'm just speaking. The first time they have a home game and Jerry Jones gets shown on that big screen, I'm very curious to see how the Dallas fans kind of feel about this. Because from my understanding, from what I keep seeing around the internet, I haven't seen a single Cowboys fan that's okay with this.
Nope.
Not a single one. This definitely feels like the Luka Doncic trade. And Nico Harrison is, again, kissing the floor because he is no longer the dumbest GM in Dallas. And we were praising Jerry Jones when that happened. Remember that? I was sitting here saying, see, Jerry's the only smart GM in Dallas. Apparently not. Let's go to break real quick. We got to pay some bills. On the other side, we'll talk a little baseball. Kyle Schwarber did something that 2 other men were able to do this year, but only 19 others have been able to do in the entirety of the MLB's history. And that's hit up 4 home runs in a single game against the Braves last night in a massive win, 19-5. We'll talk about that and much, much more on the other side of the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. We're all over the place. Twitch as well. You can follow us on all platforms. In fact, if you notice, we've actually been able to upgrade the stream a little bit in the last couple of days with the new system. There's even a runner up there where you can see your own self as the latest subscribers and whatever else comes by. So feel free, go subscribe, follow us, share with your friends, all that good stuff as we give you the best in sports and sports entertainment every single day from 7 to 9 a.m. on the weekdays. Let's talk a little baseball because I have to gloat because my Phils have looked awful this week, to be honest with you. This is the first game I've actually been able to say I feel like a fan again. We blew out, yes, I say we, because you Dodger fans say we as well, so I get to say we. Phillies blew out the Braves yesterday, 19-5. Now, granted, big whoop. It's the Braves. They're having a really rough year. The cool things that happened, though, two big ones. One, as we mentioned before the break, Kyle Schwarber, 4 home runs in a single game, making him the 3rd player to do that this year, but the 19th to do it in MLB history. The big Amish did it earlier this year, as well as Suarez, the newly acquired Mariner, did it when he was with the Diamondbacks earlier in the year when he was on a tear. You said you had a list of the other 16 men that have been able to pull this off, right?
Yep, it goes all the way back to the first one was in 1894 with Bobby Love. And it goes down with, it didn't happen again until 1896. Ed Delahanty, Chuck Klein, Lou Gehrig did it, Gil Hodges, going into the 50s, Joe Adcock, Calavito, Willie Mays, Mike Schmidt, Bob Horner, Mike Whitten, Sean Green. And then in 2003, Carlos Delgado, Josh Hamilton, Scotty Gennett, JD Martinez was the last one in 2017 until this three-peat of this year with Suarez and Guts. So, it's a great character or a great list.
Oh, 100%. And it's great for baseball because obviously everybody loves to see home runs hit as much as humanly possible. I just love seeing the names on the list because it's just nothing but historical figures. At this point right now, it's a great step forward in the argument of Kyle Schwarber for MVP.
As they were chanting it, as they
should. Have been every single night. It's Kyle. This guy's on a tear, man. I mean, we're talking about a guy 2 years ago that was barely hitting 200, still crushing home runs, I grant you. He had 100 RBIs on a barely 200 average. He's bumped it up to 250 the last 2 years. His walk numbers are up. His RBIs are out the roof. I'm finally glad Philly got him out of hitting at the leadoff. It was starting to bug me last year. Much like the Dodgers hate seeing Shohei lead off. I hated seeing Kyle lead off, even though he would hit a bomb every single time. But it's just further example of why you need to hand him the MVP this year. I'm just saying. This guy has been doing some otherworldly things. Granted, again, Shohei Ohtani exists. So there's your argument. But when it comes to how the MVP should be awarded, I echo what I've been saying for the weeks. It shouldn't be a popularity contest. It should be who is the most valuable to their team. And I'm going to tell you right now, if the Phillies didn't have Kyle Schwarber on this team, especially with the way they started, no Bryce Harper, the pitching has been up and down all year long. Your main aces have been injured or just off their game. Aaron Nola, although is the second part of this cool thing I'll get to in a second, hasn't been the same Aaron Nola that they need. And now you lost Zach Wheeler for the rest of the season. This team would not be a playoff team if Kyle Schwarber wasn't on it. They really wouldn't. But if you remove Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers, granted, your offense takes a massive ding, but I'd still argue you guys are a wild card team at the very least. So in my personal opinion, the most valuable player, it's got to go to Schwarbs. It has to. On the NL side. AL side, it's still Cal Raleigh. 100%. Historical year.
I wish you were right, but I still think Ohtani will get it just really because he's pitching now and it's the Dodgers.
And he got his first win as a Dodger ever, so they're going to
on bobblehead night, on his own bobblehead night. Which I had to remind my buddy Justin is out in Chicago as his son is had his graduation for to be a Navy SEAL or a Navy but he caught a White Sox game last night and was gloating as he was sitting pretty much right on third base.
Nice. Good for
And
him.
got to see Aaron Judge, and he said this dude is massive in
Yeah.
person.
He's a massive human being.
But he sent some pictures of. I've always wanted to go to Chicago and catch a game, but
100%. But I'm going to Wrigley, not to White Sox.
I'm going to the United Center, so I can care less.
I mean, that's also true. Yeah, go check a Bulls game. Isn't it weird though how TV does that? I mean, I've always said that when you watch sports, usually when you're watching stuff like football and stuff like that, you assume these guys are massive, massive men. But then you watch sports like basketball and baseball, and they look like normal sized humans, even though they are ridiculously sized men.
It was like
And
Evan
women.
was telling us how big Steph Curry is.
Yes, he's
On-
the size of a quarterback. People don't realize that. When you think of Steph Curry, I'm pretty sure half the people that are listening to
he's
us right
tiny.
now think he's either your height or shorter. No,
Yeah.
no.
He's a big boy.
We're talking 6'3", 6'4", guys. He's a couple inches taller than you. I promise you.
He just looks like a midget.
But that's the
compared to
thing.
other players.
That's the weird thing about the angles of these sports games, man. I've never understood that, but at the same time, I guess that's probably on purpose to make you more relatable, make you believe that you can be that guy. You know what I mean?
Like
So
Mike.
exactly. So maybe that's why. And then the other side thing real quick before we get to a break and we get to our fantasy football segment of the week, we'll give you your top 10 tight ends and defenses on the other side of the break. Aaron Nola, as I mentioned earlier, became the third highest in strikeouts in Phillies history yesterday with his patented curveball. Loved seeing that. But again, he's having a rough season. It is really, really, really rough. So I'm hoping he can use this to bounce back and go into the postseason and be the ace we all remember him to be, especially during that time of the year. However, it's really cool to see another young face, or I can't say young face, he's been there for over a decade, actually step into the limelight of history in terms of Philadelphia, and his name will forever be etched with the rest of the pinstripes. So let's take a break real quick. We will pay some bills. On the other side, we'll get to our top 10 tight ends in fantasy football. We realize some of you probably have started your fantasy drafts, but others, like us, normal people, have them this weekend. So hopefully we can help you out and find arguably the toughest position in fantasy football, in my opinion. I'll explain why after the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Thanks, Michael.
Would have been his birthday today.
How old would he have been?
Old.
Answers that.
Old.
Thanks.
And I got a report from the WWE saying that they're going to test out moving Raw back to 4 p.m. starting September 15th.
I had heard
because they want to see if they want to do it for the rest of September, just to see how it the ratings hit against Monday Night Football.
I really wish Netflix would share those. I really do. I don't think they ever will, and that's on purpose. Because I mean, if they ever shared half of them, I'm pretty sure people will be up in arms about half the shows they canceled. But at this point, I just, especially for the live sports stuff, I'm curious if there are more people that actually watch if it started at 4 rather than 5.
They're definitely starting to. I saw that on my my other job that they're doing their ratings on up against box office results.
Mhm.
I know they showed like one of their movie releases last week, and see it still got beat out by Weapons, but it was still, I believe, 14 to 18 million
Really?
in the first week.
That's pretty good. I mean, again, Weapons, from what I understand, has been really, really good.
I love that movie.
I haven't seen it yet. I need to go check it out. But you're here for our fantasy football choices, so we're here to help you. It is fantasy football season, and as we've done for the last couple of weeks, we've given you our breakdowns of the quarterback position, running backs, and wide receivers. You can go back on our YouTube page and find all of those videos sitting right there in the fantasy football section in the playlists. But today, we're going to give you our breakdown for tight ends and defenses. Defenses are pretty straightforward, in my opinion, but tight end is one of the hardest positions to really pin down in fantasy football. There are the handful of guys that are always consistent, just dogs for you. But usually this position is very lackluster. It is one of those that it's hit and miss. Sometimes you can get a guy that can get thrown to 15 times in a game. Sometimes you get a guy who gets thrown to 3 times in a game. So it's really based on how much trust their quarterback is going to have in them and how much they're going to be relied on in the offenses that they're chosen. At least in my opinion, that's what I chose my top 7 based on, along with 3 sleepers. So you're going to get 10 in total from both of us. Because technically, I don't know about you, Spark, but my 3 sleepers would have technically been probably this 9-10 area of the list in what I believe where they're going to land. So theoretically, you're still getting the top 10. But
I reached on mine.
Did you reach on yours a little bit? So let's go ahead and go down the line. Do you want to start at 7 and go down to 1?
Sure.
All right. Well, my number 7 personally, I got Trey McBride in Arizona. I know he had a huge year last year, career highs in catches and yards. But I think, as I've said in the videos prior, a lot of the relationship between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to develop this year, which means a lot of those targets that went to Trey are probably going to be spread around more to the wide receivers as well to get them involved. I think Trey's still going to be great. I think he's going to be a good fantasy tight end for you, but I wouldn't expect him to have the number 1, number 2 like tight end influence that he had last season. So I have him somewhere closer to 7 this year. Who do you got?
At 7, I went with Evan Ingram in Denver. I think he should have a good year out in Denver, especially with Bo Nix, if the sophomore slump doesn't hit him. Mm-hmm. But I like him over in Denver, and I think with that offense and Bo Nix, I think he's a solid top 10 tight end.
Funny you bring him up because I actually have him at 6 for the same reasons. And I think because he is going to Denver, he is going to benefit from being on an offense that actually has other weapons to throw to. Because if you look at the last 2 teams he's played for, Jacksonville and the New York Giants, haven't really been a successful run for him in those 2 teams. And I figure it's because he hasn't been able to really been put in schemes that are beneficial to the way he plays, as well as being utilized as a speedy tight end. I think Sean Payton, who has a long history of making tight ends look great, Jimmy Graham, is going to make Evan look fantastic this year. And hopefully that could be the connection that keeps Bo Nix away from his sophomore slump. So that's who I have at number 6.
At number 6, I went with TJ Hawkinson. I know he's in Minnesota, and I know there's a ton of weapons out there now that even got Thielen back, and they're waiting on the suspension to get to full core at receiver. I like Hawkinson. It's hit and miss, though, with Hawkinson for me, just because there's so many weapons, and I want to see what JJ brings to this offense. But I just like Ingram, I think he has an upside that would keep him in, the top 7.
I love TJ, and I'll get to him in a little bit. but I agree with you. It's a lot to spread around. And for a rookie quarterback, I think it's going to be tough to kind of spread it as much as he needs to. Personally, who I have at number 5 coming up, Travis Kelce Swift. Travis Kelce Swift is going to most likely have a bounce back season this year. I do think he realizes what held him back last year, which was, as he said, his focus wasn't there. And even when you look at his step back, per se, in the game last year, his stats were still on par with pretty much what you've gotten throughout his entire career. So at the same time, you really can't be upset if he comes in and only gets you 800 yards, 900 yards, 1,000, because that's really what you've gotten from his entire career. So I think it's on par. And having that being said, that automatically puts him still around the top 5 in tight ends. So he's going to be one of those most relied on tight ends to be thrown to. Him and Patrick Mahomes still have the chemistry they have. And I do believe that he's going to at least make himself look like maybe the Travis Kelce from 2 to 3 years ago. I won't say in his prime, but probably around the 1,000-yard area would be a safe number for Travis.
That's where I put Kelce too. I'm more worried about the offensive line for Kansas City, and I think that will help Kelce, if anything.
Yeah.
But I think early in the season, they're going to try to get that relationship moving and get Kelce back in. I just don't know if it'll be Kelce of old or if maybe his knees are starting to get old and he's just not getting up there. But I think Travis Kelce, I'm not going to reach for him like I would in years past, but he's definitely a top 5 tight end.
Getting into the top 4 is where I kind of got a little dicey. All of these guys can really be thrown around in any piece of this, in my opinion. But number 4, I put Sam Laporta. The only reason I have Sam Laporta at 4 is because I still have no idea what this Detroit offense is going to look like without Ben Johnson at the helm. And I know I keep using that as like cautionary tales, but it really is going to matter. And it's not even just Ben Johnson who's gone. There's a lot of other offensive coaches that were taken as well. So we will see what we will see going into year 3 for Sam Laporta. He's been a fantastic add for the Detroit offense. Last year took a little bit of a step back, but I think if you can figure it out with this team and keep them consistent, you could see him bump up into that top spot in the tight end part.
I have Laporta 4 as well. I have him. I'm not as worried as Ben Johnson because I know they'll have the grit. I'm more worried about their schedule. Detroit has a tough schedule, and which usually turns into good points for a tight end. But I also think Jamison Williams, St. Brown, they'll get theirs.
Jamar Gibbs. I mean,
exactly. And I think it's one of those teams that there's a lot of skilled players on that offense, and just to see who's going to get them. But I think when it comes to this tough schedule, it usually benefits a tight end.
So I agree with you. And I think Jared loves his tight end, so he'll figure out a way to make this work. I don't know. The lack of the leadership in terms of coaching, I think it's just something to worry about. I've always had that in the back of my head coming into this preseason. Number 3, I have TJ Hawkinson. Personally, I have always loved TJ in fantasy football. Even when he gets hurt, he comes back and is one of the best tight ends. And from what, Sparky's point earlier, granted, he has a rookie quarterback, but that traditionally is good for tight ends. When you have a big body guy like TJ Hawkinson to throw to, especially in the red zone, I grant you that you still have Justin on the outside and now Adam Thielen back, as we mentioned earlier. But TJ is going to be that guy that really is going to be the safety blanket for JJ. When JJ is under pressure, when he needs to get a ball out quickly, it's most likely going to go to TJ or Justin Jefferson. Justin's going to be double teamed. TJ is going to be wide open in the middle of the field with linebackers around him. And personally, when you're in a PPR league, all you need to do is catch the ball. You really don't need the big plays, especially from your tight end. If you get a guy who can catch 10, 12 balls a game, that is a benefit to you in every way, shape, and form. So that's why I put TJ so high.
So my top 3, just to speed it up, my 3 is George Kittle. I think George Kittle is going to have a better season, and especially with players like Debo out, and Ayuk is going to be out for at least a month. But I think Kittle is one of those guys that, his relationship with the quarterback and his piece in that offense, he is getting up there in age, but I think Kittle is definitely a top 3 tight end. Number 2, I swapped with your number 7. I got Trey McBride up there at 2. I love the guy. And I think it's one of those which I expect the receiver core in Arizona to have a better year. But I also look at Kyler Murray as almost like I don't know how to put it, where he gets antsy.
Mm.
And I think that McBride is kind of his security blanket. And number one, I go with Brock Bowers.
Oh, naturally. Brock Bowers is the number one. I told you guys this earlier in the week. He's the number one tight end across the board. The guy's going to bounce back in year 2 and probably show us all again why he's the best tight end.
And when it comes to fantasy, that's probably the only tight end I would reach for.
Oh, 100%. And George Kittle is my number 2 as well. For the biggest gripe against George Kittle that I've ever heard is that he gets hurt a lot. Personally, when you look at the stat line, he's usually in 15, 16 games in the year. That's the majority. That's all you need him for. And like Sparky said, he's consistently a target. Him and Brock Purdy's relationship has just flourished in the last couple of years. And with the wide receiver core looking so thin, you have 2 guys to throw to, Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. And I'm going to tell you right now, Christian can't catch every ball. So I'm going to say George Kittle has a great season this year for the San Francisco 49ers. And hopefully they can get the offense running. But we'll see what we will see. And I agree with you. Brock Bowers, number 1. Easily the best tight end in football. And much like the 49ers situation, the Raiders, although bringing in Amari Cooper, still have to figure out their wide receiver room. Is Jacoby Myers going to be playing for you? So you're going to get a lot of targets if you're a big tight end that's been consistently one of the biggest threats in football since you started. My 3 sleepers, real quick, before we get to our break. I love Colston Loveland out in Chicago. The rookie out of Michigan is going to make a big, big name for himself. And I think that he is going to step up and be the tight end that Chicago has always wanted Cole Kmet to be. And once he and Caleb can actually get on par with each other, we could be seeing a great quarterback tight end connection there for a good couple years. My other 2, Tyler Warren out in Indianapolis with Daniel Jones at the helm. I know Sparky's talking about Kyler Murray and his happy feet. Daniel Jones definitely has happy feet, and he loves to throw the tight ends. So I would say that he's going to be targeted a good amount, especially from what we've seen in preseason. It looks like the Colts are looking to use him quite a bit. And then my last one is Ching Okonkwo out in Tennessee. Last year, he was one of those guys that was really highlighted as a sleeper in the tight end area, never really broke out. This year, with a quarterback that can actually throw to him, I believe is going to be the year we actually see him step into that light. Last year, he had to deal with Will Levis, who could barely throw the ball out into the numbers. This year with Cam Ward, a guy who's actually capable of playing at the starting quarterback position and can lead your team, I think he's going to have a big year for Tennessee.
My 3 sleepers at the tight end position. Number 3 is a twofer. It's Jonnu and Pat Freiermuth over in Pittsburgh. I think.
Fair.
I don't know which one it'll be. I'm leaning towards Jonnu just because of the year he had, but I've also read, that offensive coordinator that he's played with, it wasn't the fantasy stats he needs, but I think Aaron Rodgers loves his tight ends. Number 2, I threw in Darren Waller. I think he is a hell of a sleeper. I don't know what we're going to get out of him, but if Tua is healthy, he feeds those tight ends. And I think what he got out of Jonnu last year in Miami, that they're going to try to replicate with Darren Waller this year. I just don't know if he can stay healthy for the full year as well as Tua, but that is one of the sleepers. And my number 1 sleeper is Tyler Warren over in Indianapolis. I think not only because he's a Colt, but that was one of the main things that they wanted to address this offseason is getting back to having a big tight end, just like the Indianapolis Colts of old.
Mm-hmm.
They always like to have their big tight ends, and they're a big part of that offense. And I would expect Tyler Warren to be a fantasy sleeper. He might be in the top 7 by next year's draft. But we'll take this break. We'll get into the defenses and special teams for your fantasy to wrap up our Fantasy Friday before Chris Flail joins us at 8 o'clock right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
Welcome back. You're going to be getting Michael all day, just letting you know now. Sparky's that big of a fan. And I'm not here complaining whatsoever.
For the texter, I looked up. It says Madden already is out. So
Is it really?
what it says. I haven't seen it, but I haven't been looking for it. I'm broke. So.
I know, same. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I will eventually get that plus NCAA football at some point during the season, but I have fantasy football dues to pay for.
I'm trying to find time to play my wrestling game.
Yeah, that too. We will get down to our fantasy defenses real quick with the time we have left. We're going to have to run through these, though, because we do have two guests here to end the show. We'll go 7-1 like we did earlier and then give our 3 sleeper picks. Personally, number 7 for me, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pinnacle of consistency, as I said. Mike Tomlin at the helm. You got TJ. Cameron will most likely play once they figure out this contract situation. Plus, you have a brand new secondary with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay. It's going to be a good year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. Number 6, I have the Chicago Bears. Chicago's defense, although the offense has struggled, has been silently good the last couple years in fantasy football. They get a lot of turnovers. They make a lot of plays. And to be honest with you, that's kind of what you want from the defense and the special teams, is somebody that's going to be flashy and is going to be able to maybe pick up a touchdown or two for you when your wide receiver doesn't that week. Number 5, I have the Washington Commanders. When you're led by Dan Quinn, it is a defensive-minded team, and trust me when I tell you there is a man that can turn your defense around. It is Dan Quinn. So I do believe the Washington Commanders defense will step up this year and will be just as good as the offense, potentially bolstering them into Super Bowl pedigree in a way. Number 4, I have the New England Patriots. Once again, led by a defensive-minded coach, Mike Vrabel. I think he has a plan here to turn this defense into what it used to be, which is a tough nose and absolutely just strangling secondary style defense. So this is going to be good. Number 3, I got the Houston Texans. Do I really need to explain? D'Amico Ryans, he's done his work out there for the last couple years, and they have been studs every single year in the fantasy football realm, much like the Chicago Bears. They make plays, they get picks, and they score touchdowns. That's how it works. Number 2, I got the Baltimore Ravens. After signing Kyle Hamilton yesterday, still one of the best defenses on paper. And again, it's a team that swarms to the football. You don't get a lot of points when you play the Baltimore Ravens, and they know how to make it hard for offenses as well as get that ball away from them. My number 1, though, is going to be the number 1 defense in football, in my opinion. That's the Denver Broncos, led by Patrick Surtain. I'm telling you right now, not a lot of people are talking about how good that defensive front is, but I think you're going to see a big step forward when it comes to the Denver Broncos on the defensive side of the ball, and that is why they're going to be the number 1 team in fantasy football on the defensive side this year. Sparky, go for it.
From 7-1, we agreed on 1, which is Pittsburgh. I've got them at 7. I do like the additions that they brought in. I still think age might catch up to them, but as long as you got TJ Watt, you're going to be a top 7 defense. Number 6 is I got Houston at 6. Like he said, DeMarco Ryans, I like the Houston defense. I know they've lost a few major pieces in that defense, but
Singletary still looks good.
Houston is going to be a tough defense. Number 5, I'm going to go with Flores and the Vikings. I think as long as Flores is there with the 0 blitz, that defense, and a sleeper, if you play IDPs, Andrew Van Ginkel is a tackle machine. A lot of these IDPs in drafts, usually I wait until the end because they're just like extra kickers. But if you can pick up a player that's a tackle machine like Van Ginkel, I usually would get him early. Number 4, I went with the Packers. I had him at 5 before the pickup
trade, yeah.
But with Micah. I think the Packers defense is going to be a lot better than a lot of people think. Number 3, I went with Denver. Denver's a top 3 defense most of the time. But now with what they have with Surtain and a grip of more talent over on that defensive side, I think Denver's the reason that I believe that they take the AFC West this season. Number 2, I sneaked in Philly. I like the Eagles defense. I like Jalen Carter. And I think Philadelphia is just going to have a tough defense. And number 1, which was your number 2, I'm going with the Ravens defense, not only with Hamilton and several other players that they picked up, but they were one of the few teams that were able to keep that defense intact. And my 3 sleepers, which are sleepers to me, number 3 was the Patriots for me. The Patriots defense has always been tough, but now with Vrabel in there, I think it'll only get better. Number 2 is my Miami Dolphins. I know the secondary is tough, but that front 7, I think, is going to be one of those top 5 teams in sacks this year. They might be getting hurt in the secondary, but as long as they can get to the quarterback before, I think they filled the hole with running the stopping the run, but I think they're going to be up there in sacks. And number 1 sleeper for me is Seattle. I threw in Seattle just not only because of McDonald, but Seattle always has a tough defense, and I like some of the young talent that they brought in this offseason.
That's a solid pickup, to be honest with you. Seattle was on my radar, but I wasn't so sure if McDonald was going to be able to pull it off just yet. My 3 sleepers for you. My number 3 was the Minnesota Vikings, just like Sparky said, led by Brian Flores. It's the number 1 blitzing defense in the league, and sacks get you points as well as potential fumbles. So that's always a good one to look for. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. I think they're going to need to lean on this defense big to be successful this year, especially with the question marks on the offensive side. And my number 1 sleeper this year, the Kansas City Chiefs, silently have been able to turn themselves into a defensive team. Not a lot of people have been talking about it. They do a little bit towards the end of the season, but the last couple years, silently, the Chiefs have steadily moved themselves up as one of the most defensive stout teams in the NFL. And to be honest with you, I don't see that changing this year. I think that they're going to be able to continue that. McDuffie looks great. Jones is still running things in the middle. And to be honest with you, Tranquil, all these guys are dogs. They're all workhorses. There's not a single one of them that's a superstar, and that's a good thing in my opinion, especially when it's football. When you have a group of stars that work together well, that's better than having 2 or 3 superstars on your defense. Because
now
when
you're
you
sounding like Jerry.
Well, it's a cohesive group, man. But Jerry, I really want to get to that audio. We're gonna have to play it when Chris is in here because I'm sure he's gonna have his comments too. But this entire situation with Kansas City, I'm telling you, they're turning this team around because they know the offense doesn't have much left. They really don't. Travis is on his way out. Rashee Rice is getting in trouble. Xavier Worthy still hasn't figured it out yet. I mean, you had to go and trade away Sky Moore. We'll see what we get of the Kansas City Chiefs on the offensive side, but the defensive side has been stepping up every single year, so we'll see. But we got to take a break. Our guy Chris Flail is going to be on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 AM, 101.1 FM. What's up?
I'm not seeing him.
He's there. I don't know. This system is weird. It doesn't, for some reason, it won't show everybody everything, but he's there. Trust me, I'm looking at it on the stream. So we are live. We're fine. No problems. His beautiful face is here, Chris Flail. And
Thank
he
you
even
so
shaved
much.
for you guys.
Good to
Look
be
at
back. See, Burdick's my
Mr.
favorite on the show.
Clean.
He's clean.
He-
Looking like Mr. Clean over here.
I'm trying. They had a
He's
Mr.
got-
Clean contest last week. I wasn't informed ahead of time. I would have entered. But
Right.
they you called me our boy on the way in. Beautiful face. See, this is how you shine up, butter up a guest. Sparky, come on.
I called you beautiful when I opened the door.
This is true. I did hear him
Off
say
air.
that. I
Off
get
air,
it.
beautiful. The people need to know.
They don't need to. They can see your face. This is not just radio.
Oh my goodness. Well, not anymore.
That's
Not
right.
anymore. But plenty to talk about, my
Yes.
friend. Absolutely. Do you have any comedy shows before we get started on this that are coming up?
Have our Saturday show for Marley's Mutts. All the proceeds go toward their services for adopting,
Fantastic.
rescuing dogs. Again, if you go, please adopt all of the dogs so that my fiance doesn't adopt whatever is remaining if they have them there. It's gonna.
Oh, you
it's gonna
know
be-
they're going to have
It's going to be a great night. Just wrapped up a show in Hanford earlier this week that was great. I was telling Sparky about it. Last time I was in Hanford for a show, the opener for the show got arrested while I was on stage. So this was a much better show.
Do you want to explain why he was arrested? Or do you
Sure.
even know the full story?
Yeah, I can give you the quick.
Okay.
I could give you the quick rundown. So, it was a small venue. It was kind of. I always say it's like Mr. Deeds. Like there would be 50 people there. They were always the same 50. They all
Uh-huh.
knew each other. 10 minutes before the show, the bartender comes out and says, "Hey, somebody spray painted the bathroom." And the whole venue turns and looks at the four comic. Because they're like, "All right, Ted's not here. We know it's one of you."
Right.
Like they would know who would spray paint. And so they looked at us, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" So it's like this just eye of suspicion the whole show. So the opener goes up and does whatever, and the feature does whatever. They do a raffle before me, which is always a disaster. I've got to follow a drunk winning $212 and just buying shots during my act. And then I can
help your act at all? Come
No,
on,
not,
man.
not at all. People don't want to listen to witty wordplay about
True.
family
Like, you're not
dynamics.
buying us a beer? What's
yeah,
happening?
exactly. Yeah, $260 worth of shots, and I'm like, and then my mom
See,
told me, and it's like,
Speaking
oh,
of
God.
love, maybe you need to throw out some love to the fans.
Oh, there you go. Maybe you should. Maybe buy everybody a shot and everybody
Maybe
will
that-
actually laugh at your
Maybe
jokes.
that'll be my go-to if I ever do them.
Dude,
Hey, before anyone hears me on the open mic, everyone gets a shot of kamikazes before we start.
At
Oh,
this
that's gonna be
time,
an expensive show.
I was mostly getting paid in like iced tea gift cards back then. So this was
So what happened?
so I'm on stage after the raffle, just trying to put the room back together, and a big commotion. I found out the opener got arrested for tagging the gas station next to the venue and got caught doing that one. So they pieced them together and hauled him out of there. So this was a much better night.
Wow. How
This
old
is-
was the guy?
Oh, he is early 30s, late 20s.
That's too. Yeah, that's too.
My
old to
question
be
is, what
tagging
too
what
old
was
to
he
be tagging.
tagging?
It's way too old to be tagging stuff.
I didn't
still.
see what I didn't notice what the logo
What
was.
was?
It was,
it was
it was an early bird in the morning logo.
there you
Oddly
go.
enough,
like,
Big
cool,
old EBS on the side of the wall.
oddly enough, 2.5 years before the show's
right?
genesis. But
Well, how's everything else? I know we wanted to get your insight on what do you think about this Micah trade?
oh,
Is it as crazy as everyone's trying to spin it, or
well, I wonder if Jerry Jones. So I just watched the Netflix Jerry Jones special.
I have yet to finish it.
I kind of get the feeling that
Speaking
he
of which, it's
watched
above
it.
my
and
head
was
right now. I can see
Yes.
that.
I kind of get the feeling that he watched it. He's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to do this.
He's a
again.
gambler.
I'm gonna try to do Herschel again. Yeah, I really
Mhm.
like watching myself do this. I'm gonna do it again.
I have to give him props, dude. He at least stood for what he's been saying. I'm not saying he was a smart move,
Yeah.
but at least he kept with it.
And it seems like one move just to let Steven and the other kids know I'm still making
Yeah,
these calls.
That's what I'm
Jerry.
saying.
Yeah.
But as a Philly fan,
I love
obviously you're excited to
I
see
love
Micah
it.
out of the conference.
Week 1, baby. It's
Or, I mean,
gonna
out of the
be-
division, I should say.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. What do you guys think about Jerry's? Do you think they're ever gonna get themselves back to
No.
a true contending team?
No, not with Jerry at the helm, unfortunately. But that's not necessarily Jerry's. Well, I guess it is Jerry's fault now
Yeah.
with what he's doing now. But like, I still just think that the competition in the NFL has gotten better.
Yeah.
Since those days, you don't have the luxury of having all the superstars on the team anymore. Not everybody wants to go play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore.
Well, and you haven't watched the documentary yet?
No, I haven't watched the majority. I've seen
Okay.
the first 2 episodes.
I won't spoil too much, but it really is an 8-hour love story between 2 people who will never speak to each other again. It's just Jerry and Jimmy, who were
Really?
they're just, and it's weird. It's like a common thread. You see this all the time. You see it in sports. You see it in entertainment. You see it all over the place. When 2 people, especially 2 like alpha dog dudes,
Mhm.
build something remarkable, at the end of it, they almost always don't speak to each other anymore.
It
They,
kind of feels
I
like
don't.
that Bill and Brady type deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill and Brady. These 2, I mean, for radio guys, Opie
Jordan
and
and
Anthony,
Pippen, yeah.
Jordan and Pippen. I've heard like Bob and Tom before one of them
Uh-huh.
retired, didn't even speak to each other.
Uh-huh.
There's something about 2 people building something great that very often drives them apart. It's a weird
We
sociology.
spend a little
thing.
bit too much time with each other.
I
and
think
it
that's
happens.
exactly what it is.
There is one part of this documentary where they ask Jerry and Jimmy the same question, and they answer the same way. They give like a 30-second candid answer, which seems like vulnerable, and they both go, "Let me go back, run that tape back, let me start over." The exact same, and you go, "Oh my God, if you could just get out of your own way, you love each other so much."
Uh-huh.
It was so interesting.
So as we're talking about this, I keep thinking, because Jerry has now been very notorious for going into the media and saying that if nobody's talking about his Cowboys, he'll find a reason for you to talk about his Cowboys.
Yeah.
Could this potentially just be a WWE style play for Jerry to literally keep us talking about the Dallas Cowboys all season long? Because now, if this doesn't work out in the Dallas Cowboys' favor, like a lot of people believe it won't, every pundit, every show is going to be constantly just dragging the Cowboys and Jerry Jones all season long for trading away Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah, he loves it. That's the currency.
So
for
he's
him.
just setting it up for all season for us to just put the Dallas Cowboys in our mouths.
It seems that way. And I mean, they haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years, and they're by far the most valuable franchise in the league.
By
I mean,
far, too.
Yeah.
by leaps and bounds.
Well, and again, Jerry has really created the business style that is the NFL today.
he has.
These players do what they do today. They hold out and threaten trades because that's what technically what they've really been seen works.
Right.
So obviously, if it works for them, they're going to continue, and it goes the same way for organizations as well. If they see something that works and they can make money off of it,
Yeah.
they're going to copy, and that's what Jerry has kind of brought to the NFL and saved it in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, if this ends up just being one giant ploy from Jerry saying, you know what, I hate this kid for reneging on our deal, so I'm just going to get this and use this as an opportunity for everybody to be talking about the Cowboys all year long.
He's unhappy and he wants to be traded, so I'm going to make him happy, then
By
trade
trade
him.
him.
Yeah.
Which is super strange, but
Thoughts on trading him to the Packers, though? Because that's what everybody keeps highlighting is you traded him to a rival team.
A
That
rival
was
team
interesting.
that was knocking on the door.
Mhm.
They've got some real strong pieces, and without Jordan Love being banged up last year, they could have been dangerous. That's
Mhm.
that's at least not a division rival. I mean, it didn't go to Washington, New York.
But traditionally,
Philly.
this is the team you end up seeing in the playoffs if you make it.
That's exactly right. And I saw the Twitter mob right away calling Howie season that, oh, he's going to go to the Eagles and all this stuff. But you're right. Going to the Packers is not much consolation.
Do we know the 14? Did Schefter say who the other three were
No.
that were in contention? Because I'm sure the Patriots were one of them. I know Atlanta sent an offer, but I doubt it was ever actually.
and the
looked
Raiders,
at.
I know the Raiders were in the mix.
Yeah. But again, going to the Packers was just shocking to me. I had heard this on McAfee yesterday because, I mean, Ty Schmidt's been talking about it ad nauseum, understandably so. But it's like, I was just sitting there thinking, ain't no way Jerry's trading him to the Packers.
Yeah.
Are you nuts? Like, that's all hearsay. And then later on that day, he's going to the Packers. I don't even know if McAfee was live when this happened. I doubt it, but I can't wait to hear what they say now.
Yeah.
But it's just a wild move.
And what did they get? 2 firsts for it?
2 firsts and Kenny Clark.
So it's not, you didn't trade him to a team where you're more than likely going to get high firsts.
No, that's the exact point I made. So essentially, you traded him for 2 second-round picks.
That's
if you
right.
really want to think about it, that's why I think this trade was more Jerry Jones sending a message to his players saying, if you ain't going to, be cool with our handshake deals, I don't want you on the team no more.
That's right. That's right. If you're going to make me talk to your agent.
Yeah, I don't
Correct.
want you on the team anymore.
So
And that's where the flip is, where even Micah's came out and said maybe he shouldn't have went to Jerry, but being one of Jerry's boys, going back to even when they were good in the 90s,
Yeah.
it's been a thing around the league that's how he does business.
Right.
And Micah even said previous of the trade, maybe he should or shouldn't have went to Jerry his own and brought his agent in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you can't hold that against Micah Parsons. And I understand that Jerry's always had a close relationship with his players that transcends agents. But this is Micah Parsons saying,
different.
I want to get what I deserve to be treated fairly, not the 90s of, hey, I've got someone duct taped in my trunk right now. Can you help me? That was
like Eisen was saying yesterday. He said, if he was Jerry, he would have let him play out his contract and work it out in the offseason. So it was more,
Well,
I mean, every year for the last at least 5 years, he waits until the week before football to make these wild splashes.
again,
And this is the Jerry way.
yeah, to keep us talking about the Cowboys and keep
Yeah.
everybody,
That's right.
talking about the team. But at the same time, I get why he's upset about, the backing off of the deal. But you also have to take into account who Micah's agent is. Mulugeta is the biggest sports agent right now.
Is that right?
We're talking about the guy who got Kirk his deal. We're talking
Oh.
about the guy who's gotten all these big name deals,
Wow.
all represented by the same dude, or at least his firm. So clearly, you could have walked in, had a deal done with Jerry that was lowballed, most likely, because at the time TJ's deal wasn't done, Miles's deal wasn't done. So all this $40 million nonsense probably was the number they were going to give him,
Yeah.
which is why Jerry's cool with it, because now you can't go back on a number we already agreed on.
What a good nugget of information. His agent got Kirk Cousins his money.
No, yeah. No,
Wow.
Mulugeta, if I'm
Multiple
not
times.
I think this
Wow.
dude, if I'm understanding correctly, is the guy who's really gotten every big contract for these guys or for big name NFL players.
Wow.
This dude's kind of connected to it at some way.
Wow. Does he have a branch for fledgling comedians? Because my God, I would like to start not being paid in iced tea gift cards. And that's the guy.
I like Ice-T too.
Let's see. David Mulugeta's clients. I just very curious to see who is on this list. But I know if I'm remembering correctly, Kirk Cousins is one of those
That
guys.
must be that's top of the that is.
Well, before we get into wrestling, I wanted to bounce this list off of you because not only are you a comedian, but you play fantasy football.
Yes.
And I've got 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we got 6 drafts. I have got 6 drafts
See, this
this
is why I
weekend.
hid from this league.
And I've already got 2 that I've already finished. But we've talked about, the craziest punishments for fantasy team owners that get last place. Over at MoneyWise, we've done it where the last place team has to hold a sign on Stockdale Highway during lunch that says "I suck at fantasy football." We've had my buddy Earthman in our league. And he's actually the commissioner, and he got last place due to some injuries and had to do a draft in a little pink tutu. And it was hilarious.
And I'm sorry, I was mistaken. Mulugeta represents Jordan Love and Deshaun Watson's deals. Those are the two. that
even
he
better.
knows.
Even
Along
better.
with Derek Singletary, J.C. Horn, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Ramsey, and dang near half of the NFL's biggest names.
Wow.
So Kirk Cousins is not on that list.
But
still,
Deshaun Watson is on
Deshaun
that
Watson,
list.
Jordan Love. I mean, this guy's gotten ridiculous amounts of money for these guys.
Wow.
Well, some of these crazy punishments, some of them are just a bit too crazy for me.
Yeah.
But this is from the Bleacher Report. One says you've got to enlist in the Army. The other one says a marathon. Loser has to run an entire marathon dressed in a crazy outfit or costume chosen by the league.
That one's okay.
Fair. Yeah.
that
I
one's
mean,
okay.
that's traditional, I think, now.
Yeah.
The other one says a loser has to compete in a bodybuilding contest complete with posing
What?
on a stage
All right,
with a
that's fun.
Speedo.
That's
Oh,
pretty-
that's awesome.
That's pretty fun.
I would love that.
But then you run the risk of every group of friends has the one meathead that like he's going to tank his own season. Like what?
Just to do it.
Excuse
wanted
to
to
actually
do
go
Why do you have
there.
Why do you have so much self tanner on? It's week 9.
Getting the Brock ready. Loser gets a tattoo chosen by the league.
See, I hate
that's
that.
too far.
I hate that.
That's
I'm,
too far.
I'm not an everlasting humiliation for my friends
No.
guy. I've never understood that. I had a buddy that I had to cut off one time because we were he was really coming at me, and I was like, "Hey, like I'm friends with just nice men. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
make you get an awful tattoo.
I like that one actually.
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
of course
don't get
you
me
do.
wrong. It's nice to think about until you realize that you're the one that has to get the tattoo, and it's whatever your friends want.
I've got
No.
several tattoos I probably shouldn't have gotten, but
No, I
Oh, that's
realize.
fair. If you get a
Yeah.
bunch of tattoos, I guess that's not the same thing.
I
But
know
if-
a lot of people that do that,
Yeah.
but personally, my tattoos are something that I have
Are
meaning
sentimental.
for,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
I don't want something on my body.
this one is a Waffle House challenge. You have to spend 24
Yes.
hours straight in a Waffle House, but every waffle you eat, you take an hour off, but no syrup.
Is
That
there
is- no syrup.
No syrup.
Whoa.
is there a fist fight threshold? If I get
Yeah, really. If I
If I-
fight somebody, do I get to leave in 30 minutes?
If I get into 3 fights, am I allowed to leave after 16 hours?
I love that one. I've heard that one done with IHOP and stuff like that
Uh-huh.
too, where they have to, or like a fast food restaurant like McDonald's, you have
By-
to eat a ridiculous amount of food just
By
to
the
be able to
way,
leave.
in town, I watched a whole. I think it was Carl's Jr. staff beat up a guy during the pandemic. Just chase him out, and women chase
Really?
him out of the parking lot. Just beat the daylights out of him. I'm the only person who saw it. Me and the security. I told no one. This was 4.5
Oh,
years
my
ago.
God.
Statute of limitations is over.
you.
This is the craziest one, which I don't think would ever happen, but the loser gets a one-way ticket to a different country with no return ticket, no money, and no phone.
What?
He can't come back until they hustle enough cash to fly back.
Well, okay. First and
Okay.
foremost, who are you playing with?
Exactly.
Eccentric
Well,
billionaires?
I brought up maybe these rich leagues, maybe.
What in the hell?
I mean, I would take that.
Do
just
I
for
have
a
to pay
flight.
for my ticket?
That's what I was thinking. If you're
Yeah.
gonna fly me out of a country, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's like, are you gonna pay for my ticket? Am I gonna go have to be a beach bum in Italy for
Man.
a couple
Well,
months?
the last three says the third one, loser has to start training MMA and keep fighting until they get a legit win on their record.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's terrifying.
That's the worst one. I have a buddy who was a real trained fighter, and he went like 1-9. So
Mhm.
if you're just a guy,
It's not gonna be easy for
it's
you at all.
you were never going to.
I was
See,
gonna be
but
stop
if I had
some
to
of
hit up
these
my guys
are-
at 5'9" just to get me trained up.
Exactly. But some of these are like, they're interesting because I would really love to see a league actually go through with this.
Do
But
it.
these are pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Yes.
My God.
These are people that don't like their friends.
Not at
It's like,
all. You're playing with a group of coworkers.
Number
clearly.
2, which is I've actually seen this one in town. The loser has to pay to have his photo, name, and league record go up on a giant billboard in town. I've seen that one over off of Rosedale Highway.
Shut up.
Yeah, last
Oh,
year.
that's kinda
Again,
fun.
who are you playing with?
Right.
Because clearly y'all got way too much money.
yeah.
And the last one says the loser has to wear a dog shock collar for a
Yeah,
full
see?
day with league members
Wow.
with the remote.
See, you don't like
That's
your friends.
no. See, that's messed
And
up.
see, I have a couple leagues where I don't
No.
like half the guys. So
Oh, so there you go.
I
which one?
guess.
Fantasy Frank, I would
What's the name
love
of
to
that
see
one?
a shot collar on that guy.
Does that even work though? He's out in Kansas City.
Hey, if
Yeah.
you could fly in, I would love to see
I
that.
don't get. I get a lot of them are a little extreme.
Yeah,
I
of
would
course.
never do the tattoo or sending your friend out of
Yeah.
country.
See, I would
do
That's
those.
wild.
I like fun inconvenience for my friends. I saw one that said loser has to take the SATs, and I'm like,
Yeah,
love
I've
that.
seen that one.
Love
that was
that.
actually one that was texted in. The other one was I've got to post that picture of Earthman in that pink tutu after the show today
Please.
because that was classic. But yeah, we usually in our leagues we kind of keep it civil.
yeah,
That's
why I
like
like
a
the
billboard was with the one reach that we've seen.
Yeah, I like the food ones. Like when you have to go sit into a Waffle House or McDonald's
That's
for 24 hours, and for every burger or waffle you eat is 30
do
minutes off your time or
Hot
whatever.
one challenge or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like something that's, it's something that still you can document, make sure they did it for a day, but at the same time, they're not going to get hurt because of this.
See, in our league, we had the one chip challenge. Somebody had to do it, and
That's
of
fun.
course
That's
he
fun.
lost,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't do it.
Oh,
So we had to boot him from the league.
yep. You gotta
Big
go.
I'm like,
baby.
hey, that was the rules. We all shook
You
on
gotta
it
go.
on draft night.
Boy, you're in 6 leagues right now. So
7.
So starting off, you have to root for and against everybody.
Oh yeah.
You have everyone, and you're against everyone.
That's
all
the
time.
beauty of being in 7 leagues is that
And that's the-
everybody playing, you get to watch and actually, benefit from every touchdown.
But
when
but
you're a
if the
Dolphins fan, it kind of helps out when about week 8, week 9.
This is true.
but if the year goes wrong and you lose like 5 leagues, you're gonna have a busy schedule at 2-2s and signs.
Yeah.
and-
As
But if you-
long as I cash out,
I was going to
usually
say, if
happy.
you really think about it, as long as he wins, 1 or 2 of those leagues,
Yeah.
you get your money back.
Yep.
Yeah, and if we win 3, we have a Christmas.
There you go. Oh my God. Sorry, son. I have to
And
sell
he's-
your car.
Losers' kids don't go to college.
But we have Clash
Oh,
at
that's
Paris
awesome.
coming up this weekend. We'll get into with Kyle because he's over at Dionysus. But is there
Yeah.
any big matches?
Yeah, I like just talking about the calamity of it all. I won't even do the predictions. Number one, I feel like we're a match or two short.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I did hear this morning that they're trying to push. Well, we'll see on SmackDown tonight.
Give me a
but they
tag
might
team
be
match,
pushing
baby.
Orton against Drew McIntyre.
There's one. But number two is, do either of you have an anime background that can tell me what in the world is going on with this Io Sky, Rhea, Asuka story?
I love it.
Because I feel like there's some sort of storyline influence here. It's quasi-romantic, but not.
I don't
One's
know if
crying,
it's
one's
anime
laughing.
related. I mean,
Well, I saw a
love
lot on.
triangle.
I
for
saw a lot
sure.
of anime pictures on Twitter, and I was like, "Is there some big
Am I missing
show
something?
that had a story or something like that?" Because
That's awesome.
we shifted from your classic two best wrestlers like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels,
Mhm.
Bret Hart, Stone. These two, we have the best. We know we have the best two wrestlers who put on one of the best matches we've ever seen, and now it seems like they're just driving as far as they can apart from each other from being able to wrestle again, and they're doing this weird now turning into like a Bailey Lyra story, but like it's like a but daddy, I love him. Like there's all kinds of
I'm
That's
looking
what it
forward
feels like
to.
me.
I want to see the Asuka and Io, but I don't understand the whole thing
And-
with the Rhea and
and I
mixing
fe-
everything.
Well, I feel like we're destined for a Triple H wrap 'em up. We've got like 6 female stars that aren't on a match, so we're going to do some 1 versus 1 versus 2 versus 3 for
Uh-huh.
no reason. So do we have some weird battle royale where Io is at the end of this at Clash in Paris is stuck between Rhea and Asuka? Who does she fight and who
And
does
see,
she
that's
team
where I'm
up
kind
with?
of
That would be
lost
cool.
with the Bailey thing. I'm like, okay, I'm not a big Bailey fan, so it doesn't really.
Well, that
But
one
this
I
whole
think is
story is
building.
just weird. But the last one is what are they going to do with this title, this vacant title?
That's what I'm saying. They haven't made any announcements for it.
Well-
And none of them have a match. Stephanie Vacker was supposed to get the shot. She doesn't have a match.
That's true, but they did announce that on Monday that she's going to have her match next, or at least her opponent known next week.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's
He
coming up
thinks
most
it's-
likely on
He
Monday.
thinks it's live.
So maybe the number one contender match or something gets put on to
It's
Clash of
entirely
Paris.
possible, or maybe we just wait until Monday to get the number one contender match, which is probably where you're going to get your entire Rhea Io, debacle
You think so?
figured
Or
out,
you
or
think they
at
won't
least
do it in Paris?
started.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think there's any storyline that's necessarily anime related that's inspired this, but it's definitely more of like, but daddy, I love him.
I've-
That's kind
okay.
of the thing that I've
I've seen a lot of memes, a lot of anime memes that I just look at and I go, God, I don't even
No,
play
I-
Dungeons and Dragons, dude. I got
I'm lost.
nothing.
I genuinely believe that it's just because the fans love the two of them together. And because, I mean, the fans really just want Rhea in general, I feel.
Yes,
But ever
anything.
since this, I feel, authentic relationship between her and Io kind of like sprouted on television, you could see the two of them like working together.
Mhm.
It's just made the fans wonder, what if those two were a tag team at some point?
Yeah,
Or
that-
what if those two just end up creating their own little group together? And I think that's just kind of where we are.
That's what I'm saying. Do it. Let's do the tag team. But they just keep doing this rescue thing or backstage segments where there's longing, but there's I don't
I've heard from a
understand.
lot of wrestling fans that they're kind of getting sick of the redundant endings of Raw for the last month or so. I'm like, well, that's how they build up the stories.
That's right.
It's really just, yeah, because a lot of those endings, you can't have these guys taking pins because you need them to still look strong. But when it comes to the women, though, like Stephanie's already locked in for this title match. Who it's up against is still up in the air. I do believe Liv Morgan is going to be announced at some point
think
during
so?
this. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But at some point, yeah, I think that this entire story with Io and Rhea is probably going to end up being some weird love story that they end up creating.
Yeah, but not like it's a love story, but not that. I don't know. They just got to
Like a Romeo and Juliet kind of a thing
Force-
that's going to keep, or it's going to eventually separate Io from Asuka and Kyrie Sane.
Yeah, but I felt like
make her go solo.
I felt like they were separate. There was separation there. I don't know what they're doing. Well, I guess that's maybe
That's
that's,
the whole
the point.
Story.
Maybe
They
that's
gotcha.
maybe that's the point.
I don't know. God forbid. But I think that you're right. I think we're going to get a sixth match here, probably announced tonight. I don't know if it's going to be Randy and Drew, though. I think that's a little early.
That's what they're saying.
Still
I
no
know.
Braun Breaker with a match. I don't believe.
Nah, I think you'll see him, though, most likely throughout, because obviously Bronson and Seth both
Yeah.
had matches in the same night.
Which, by the way, on the top line from a storyline standpoint, I don't know how you take the belt away from Seth, which stinks because you kind of go in knowing, like, I don't know exactly how, but I know who's going to walk out because he gave CM Punk the title for a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
A minute and a half too long.
Seth came back after fake injury and took it. If you take the strap from Seth in 4 weeks, that's a really weird uncompleted.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
The
either.
whole point is they're gonna have to take over and become a problem. That there's going to be some counterfaction that needs to save it.
Here, my thought on what's going to happen. I think Braun Breaker most likely interferes in the tribal chief, tribal thief match.
Okay.
Which will most likely set up LeBron coming out again in the finale to help save Seth in all of this with the 3. Roman comes out and helps, and then we get this entire thing built up now for War Games.
Nice.
Where we have 4-4, and then they just have to find a 5th for both teams.
Nice.
Realistically. So
we almost certainly have to have some interference with Brock Lesnar
at some point. Well, no, because again, I think I'm still riding high on this hill that Brock Lesnar was brought back for one thing, and that's to be the guy that retires John Cena.
Oh, you think so? They're going to ramp
weird
up for the end.
Why they would do it so early if they're going to wait until December?
Because it's Brock Lesnar, and all Brock has to do is show up, wreck house, and leave. That's all we want him to do. We don't need him to talk. We don't need him to say a dang word. Just come in, wreck house, and leave. That's all we know you for.
Did you see the Brock Lesnar guy? There's the Brock Lesnar guy in the crowd. Like this guy became, I guess,
with the cowboy hat.
Famous. He's famous for just being happy when Brock Lesnar came back 10 years ago. You know how hard I've been working, writing in notepads, doing shows where my opener gets arrested for not. This guy just went when Brock Lesnar. He's got 300,000 Instagram. I'm going to do a skit today that nobody's going to watch, and they should. Brock Lesnar guy.
You think
I want to fight him at War Games? The Brock Lesnar guy.
That'd be a match.
He loses fantasy football. He's got to fight me.
There you go. Oh, that'd be a great fantasy football. Your bottom 2 teams have to wrestle. Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
That would be great.
I think ours should be you have to step into open mic.
Yeah, but I already have a bet
You're
going.
Gonna already lose that one. So
no, I don't know about that.
What's your bet for doing an open mic?
Well, Tyson Hayes and I have a bet that if Dak Prescott doesn't have a better season statistically or just in general successfully as Justin Herbert, that I have to do a 5-minute on stage.
Nice. By the way, he's got a great thing going on at Firehouse. I'm really impressed and proud with what he's doing over there.
That's why he was here on Monday to pump it up.
Yeah.
So we've been doing some great things with him, and hopefully that, gets up a little bit higher too. Cause I need to go out there. I need to actually see how they set this up upstairs.
You're going to have a lot of places to do it. Yeah. We used to do it there years ago, and it was not set up as well as Tyson has.
Mhm.
So you would be bowling with your nice, sweet family and hear whatever John Hacker or whatever was going to say.
That's what I was curious about when I first told us about it. I was like,
these-
can they not hear you guys making jokes up top?
We
Hacker
gave
is one
some
of my
kids an
favorites,
education in 2019, man.
That's great.
Hacker's the man too. I love that guy.
Oh Lord. Well, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Love you
as
guys. Always a pleasure.
One more time, what are your upcoming shows and how people can get involved?
Marley's Much show Saturday to Tehachapi, and then September, if all goes well, I will be up north in San Francisco for most of it. So I apologize if I got to take off my normal second Friday, but I'll come. I'll pay back for it however I can.
Understand.
I'll wear a tutu on the following.
There you go. You're gonna have to make some sort of punishment for you for not being here. All right, we got to take a break, pay some bills. On the other side, we're going to be talking to the owner and operator of Dionysus Brewing about their show going on for Clash at Paris this weekend. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special, final half hour of the week. And it is Clash in Paris this weekend, so we had to reach out to Dionysus Brewing and talk about what they got going on this weekend. Kyle is in the house here, as he always is. Sir, how are you? Excellent. How are you guys doing? Oh, can't complain on my end, sir. But what are we looking like this weekend? How are we? It's an early PLE, so are we open early?
Yeah, and it's on a Sunday too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we'll be open at 10. So if you want to roll in earlier, get a seat, get a drink, we'll be open at 10. The event starts at 11, and it's a pretty stacked card, honestly.
Obviously. I mean, we just heard John Cena's music. He'll be fighting Logan Paul. That's enough for me, to be honest with you, to be able to watch that one.
That's going to be a banger.
Any match that you're looking forward to?
I mean, the 4-way match. I was just watching Raw last night, and, the ending when CM Punk and Jay were kind of helping each other out, and then they're kind of like turning against LA Knight. I'm like, okay, they're doing LA Knight kind of weird. And then Jay kicks CM
Which was
Punk.
awesome.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait,
I loved it.
Okay, now they're just all beefing. So it's gonna be good because those three guys are gonna find a way to screw themselves up.
Exactly.
And Seth Rollins gonna walk out of that, unfortunately. But
not unfortunately.
I want to see LA Knight win.
No,
everybody
we
does.
need to see it.
Keep it on Seth, man.
For now. I mean, again, the Seth Rollins story has just started, so I don't think he loses the belt just yet. I was just telling our last guest what I believe is going to happen is we're going to get some interference during the Tribal Chief and Tribal Thief match, most likely leading to Roman losing.
Yes.
And then that is going to lead to Roman and all of them getting involved with this 4-way at the end. And we're going to get set up for what's going to be a great War Games match in San Diego in about a month.
Yeah, that one's outside, right?
Yes.
That's
it's going to be at Petco Park, if I'm not mistaken.
That's going to be beautiful.
So
it's actually a good point because Roman teaming with would be what? CM Punk, LA Knight, Jay, and then
Roman probably, and then they would have to find a fifth, which would most likely, if all things are leading this way, probably be Fatu. I would assume.
Which I know they've announced that the WWE draft is supposed to be coming, and they're going to do it on ESPN with actual analysts.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
I would love to see.
I did not know that.
Imagine Stephen A. Smith calling out that Rhea Ripley was just drafted first overall by Raw. This is going to get
Where's Mel Kiper Jr. in this?
Right?
That's why I want to know.
Oh, my God. The draft experts. How do you feel about this entire merger with ESPN? Obviously, moving off of Peacock, because we did just get word that this is probably going to be the last PLE you can watch on Peacock.
Is it really? I thought it was going all the way up into WrestleMania of next year. WrestleMania was going to be the first actual.
That's the rumor that we were told.
ESPN came out yesterday, I think, was when we broke it. Is that they're saying that Peacock is the final one this week.
Oh, interesting.
And then starting with WrestlePalooza is going to be all ESPN.
I mean, I love it. I know people complaining about I got to pay for another service. I already pay for ESPN.
Yes.
So I'm like, whatever. Now I can just lose the Peacock subscription.
And see, now I have.
There's a lot of people I know that are like that.
And say I have to finish up Twisted Metal so I can close that off.
Exactly what I said. It's like, well, I'm finishing up my show this weekend and I am canceling.
But I was happy to find out because I have Hulu with ads with the live TV. So I was like, do I really have to buy the ESPN one? But now that they're saying that as long as you have Hulu with live, then you should get it.
And they conveniently just brought back the bundle so you can get Hulu, Disney, and ESPN for $30 a month.
Yeah.
So, which again,
well worth it.
It is. It's $10 per app.
Well, and I mean, this is a little side note. You got UFC on Paramount Plus now.
Yep.
So that's going to help with showing those pay-per-views instead of spending $80 every time.
Well, again, that I don't know if that's going to be the case because I've heard that they're still going to have you pay.
Oh, really?
Only one. Only one a year.
Only one a year
You'll
for
have to
pay-per-view?
pay.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that's fine. If I only have to pay one UFC fight a year, because they did just announce.
The day after I closed Paramount, they announced it.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of which, Dana did come out yesterday and say that the fight at the White House is happening next year.
Sweet.
So we are going to get an entire entire pay-per-view live from probably the White House lawn.
What world are we living in?
Donald Trump's world, my friend. That's where we are. And
it's
that's probably going to be the most watched sporting event since
100%.
like up there with the Super Bowl.
It's big.
So I mean, besides the 4-way match, we've got Sheamus, and Rusev finally, hopefully the last time. I'm
Shoot.
kind of getting old with this one, but
It's definitely starting to show me that they had no plan for Rusev when he came back.
No.
And they just said, hey, you and Sheamus have wrestled for years. Go do this while we figure out what the
For
hell we're
3
going to do.
months.
yeah, for the next couple months, just,
Yeah.
we'll knock you guys
He
out.
came out and wrecked shop against the Alpha Academy, who we haven't seen since.
Nope.
Even though Otis was on Triple Mania.
Yep.
So what's this? What is a Donnybrook match?
It's just a no holds
like a
barred
street
fight,
hardcore
yeah.
street fight.
It's a
Yeah.
different name for
That's
a
the other thing,
hardcore
too.
match.
How do you guys feel about that? Because it seems to me like they just keep taking the hardcore match and just giving it a new name every time. Either it's a street fight or
We got the Bakersfield one
Donnybrook.
here in
Yeah, the
town.
Bakersfield street fight between Chelsea and
I
was
think
it
they just
Meechin?
do that to kind of like in they're in Paris, like, hey, let's give it a name that represents that region,
Right.
you know, just to make everyone excited for something.
Or at least the two guys who are wrestling. In
Yeah.
It's
that
kind of like
match.
how they've done with the logo and the painting with everything. But the other match that I'm actually looking forward to, I think I'm the only one, but Becky
Oh yeah.
and Nikki Bella, I've heard nothing. It's probably KG just getting to me,
See,
but
but no, hold on.
everyone is just so
His
it.
reaction though is exactly what I think
oh, yeah.
every wrestling fan is. Oh yeah, that's happening. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's like,
It's you know, I think a little more excitement got brought into it when Becky made the Ozzy Osbourne comment, and then people on there and they're
that
freaking out
is
over
starting to make me feel like that was planned, to be honest with
Almost
you, to
felt
gain
it.
not
Get
more
some
heat
heat.
on her, but more eyes on the
Yeah.
match. Because again, she didn't necessarily say anything bad about
No.
Ozzy,
No,
just the city.
and she's a heel, so she needs to get that heat.
Yeah, and who hasn't said something bad about a city that's a wrestler and compared it to one of their biggest names? Come on
It
now.
happens all the time.
Logan Paul, every time he steps foot in Cleveland, says, God, I'm happy I left this place. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of being a heel, is to
Yep.
get heat on you. So I feel like that was on purpose. A
You
lot of
think
people.
Becky keeps her title?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
100%.
I mean, it'd be cool to see Nikki win, but Becky's win. I mean, because she has really no other direction right now.
Is
So
this Nikki's last match, though?
is it?
I'm not sure how long she's going to be on the roster.
I know she needs that money. So
Oh, at this point. But how long can you really work with your husband or your ex-husband right
Yeah.
on, around the corner?
right.
So, and especially since they broke up because John couldn't walk away from the wrestling thing. So that's got to be a little bit of a burner, don't you think?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that.
Because, I mean, or at least from everything that I've figured out about this entire divorce between the two of them is because he couldn't walk away from the business.
And didn't want kids.
Yeah. Didn't want kids, didn't really want that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So,
Which I watched the second episode of Peacemaker last night,
Oh,
which was awesome.
is
I
that been-
missed episode 2.
I haven't seen either of the first two
That's
episodes
good.
yet. I need to actually dive
Oh,
in
the
on
first
this.
episode just starts. and
I hear
hits
they
the ground running.
retconned that entire final scene too. So
Yeah.
now Aquaman and all of them aren't in it anymore.
Nope.
That's a little ridiculous.
It's the Justice Gang now.
Yeah, the Justice
God.
Gang. Yes. And in the first episodes, that's where he starts out, going into see if he can join the Justice
Right, I
Gang.
remember- I've
they
seen
just
that
make fun of him
Yeah,
the
the whole time. But this show is awesome, and there's bonus scenes in every episode. And
We've asked this of a couple people that are wrestling fans. Who do you think is the best wrestler turned actor?
Oh, okay. You know,
I think John has probably taken the most success.
revenue wise, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, yeah,
Obviously.
100%.
sure.
But I don't like his acting because he's the same in every movie.
Thank you. He's the same in every single movie. He's himself in every
but-
movie.
But it would either.
well, so is Keanu Reeves. But
Yeah, that's
Doesn't matter
true.
if it makes money. I guess that's all they want you
Exactly.
for.
John
but-
Cena is climbing the ranks for me, but Dave Bautista, 100% is number one for me. Like what he's done, I feel like he's been the best, but I think John Cena is definitely getting close to where
Mhm.
he's at because
He is a comedic actor.
Dude, he's hilarious.
He's amazing.
Home run.
Like my wife doesn't really like John Cena, but we watch Peacemaker. She's like, I like him now.
Right. You
He's
watch
funny.
Ricky Stanicki.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, that's
anything
the
he's
one that
in.
bought my wife over was the
Ricky Stanicki was hilarious.
he was doing
Him
the
and-
cover songs.
Oh yeah.
What was that movie where he played a drug dealer and he walked into the two moms with like the fishing case full of different drugs?
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, that was so great. I can't remember what movie that was, but he's just been fantastic.
He really is.
I agree with you though. I think Dave Bautista is silently the best one, especially with his work in horror movies and drama and stuff like that. I mean, he's Drax too.
Yeah, he is Drax.
He
He played a
made-
really good Drax.
Yes, he did. And even though the character itself was really just kind of a background guy,
Yeah.
he made it more than that.
He
in
really
my
did.
opinion.
He really did.
I like the was it the knock at the door, the
Yeah,
the
Knock at the
cabin
Cabin
or whatever. That was
That was fantastic.
that was a great movie.
Him and Ron Weasley. even though Ron bit the dust pretty early in that movie.
Well, let's take our last break. We'll get into the final couple matches, and we'll pump up Dionysus, where you can watch this PLE. Plus, it's Friday night. It's a 3-day weekend.
It is.
You can also hit up Dionysus every night, but we'll get into that much more right here on the Early Bird Special. I did see SmackDown tonight. There is 3 official matches. Solo versus Sammy is supposed to be the main event. You get the Street Profits against Melo Domiz.
Nice.
Nice.
And then we get Charlotte and Alexa against the Secret Harvest.
So that has been a little lackluster to me lately. Is the Secret Harvest?
Yeah.
I'm like, at first I was like, oh, this is a great bit.
Well, now I think they're going to bring Ethan Page up
Yep.
and pair him with Chelsea Green.
I think that makes a lot of
I think
sense.
it's great, honestly.
We saw it a little bit in NXT the last couple of weeks too, and they
Mhm.
work very, very well
And
together.
I like Ethan Page. He did great in AEW, so I think he'd be great on the main roster.
And it's funny because you mentioned these call-ups because we're around the corner from call-up time. And I think a lot of these guys in NXT are going to start getting that nod. You're seeing a lot of Ricky Saints down there.
Yep.
You're seeing a lot of Obafemi down there, Trick Williams. But the one that, traditional WWE fans who follow NXT are going to know this name, Tony D'Angelo, has been completely missing.
Yep.
Since his entire match with the family. I am going to die on this hill. I think that is going to be the fourth member of the Vision.
Interesting.
I think Tony D'Angelo gets called up. He ends up being the fourth member. He pairs with Braun Breaker, who is his real life best friend.
Okay.
Or, well, I shouldn't say real life best friend. They are very good friends and often hang out together. I think it just makes sense. He would fit that mold very, very well. And we've been hearing about a fourth member coming into this faction for the last couple of weeks. And you need that member for War Games.
Yeah, you really do. You don't think Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are a good team?
No, they're fantastic. The Braun crew is fantastic. What do they call them? B&B security.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. But don't get me wrong. I just think that bringing up a guy like Tony D would really benefit his career because you need to give him a new character because this mob character is not going to work on the main roster and it's not there anymore. The family's gone.
Yeah.
So why not bring him up as Tony D, just a completely new guy, not the mobster, but just an Italian guy who comes out and wrecks shop.
Cleans house,
and he just joins the Vision as the next guy that could potentially be mentored by Paul Heyman.
Yep.
I mean, besides the Fatal 4-Way, besides Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch and Sheamus and Rusev, we've got Roman against Bronson.
I've already said how I think that one's going to end. So
yeah. I mean,
I think Roman pulls it out.
I mean, his energy lately has really shifted.
Yes.
Like he's really trying to draw in that crowd, which is kind of unusual to me because I've grown up to, the crowd's hating Roman, and now he's like everyone just
we were force-fed him.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Even during his tribal chief, like run, they force-fed that, but over time you started to appreciate greatness. And now he's just a fan favorite. But he's been losing a lot against these guys. And I'm like, I'm with you.
I think he's going to pull it out this time.
He might pull it out, and Bronson Reed might come out and interfere in the Fatal 4. And, Braun Breaker is at least.
Oh, yeah,
he's not in a match. So what else is he going to do?
Exactly. He's going to go and spear everybody else.
That's where I see Roman winning, but then interfering and it kind of backfiring him with the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I could see that, and then the main event with John Cena and Logan Paul.
I mean, John Cena wins this for sure.
Yeah, I hope. Anyway,
is this the humbling though of Logan Paul that the fans are kind of hoping it's going to be? I don't think it is. I think that Sparky might be right, and we end up seeing John lose this.
You think so?
I think if he's
trying
going
to
lose any of them,
over,
I think if he loses any of them, it'll be this one. There's no title involved, so it's not like he's losing a title.
And to be fair, I think that this has just been another match in a long string of matches for Logan to prove to every fan that he's actually a wrestler.
Yeah.
Like that he's taking this seriously, that this is something that he wants to do. Because this match really does, or at least the promo from last week really did make me feel like this kind of goes back to the whole Austin Theory, John Cena match at WrestleMania a couple years ago. Theory was the guy kind of like Roman that was being force-fed to the fans. People weren't liking him very much. And John came in to really test him, say, if you can sink here, or if you can swim here instead of sink, you're gonna thrive in this.
Yep.
I don't know if he really did.
He didn't. He won, and it didn't feel good.
No, at all.
No, exactly.
It was not a match that really felt like he won anything. And this could be kind of similar with Logan Paul here. I think everybody's, at least fan base wise, is hoping, this is going to be the one that finally humbles him. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Logan Paul is just a better athlete, he interacts with the crowd better. Austin Theory for me just falls flat. He doesn't really have a good character, even though he is really good in the ring.
And
So-
honestly, he's been missing the last couple months due to an injury, quote unquote, from what we understand.
Injury.
Injury.
Well,
But we've also heard a lot of people wanting an extra match added, which we might see on
Mhm.
SmackDown. I know the rumor mill this morning, anyways, while I was prepping, that a lot of people are pushing that we think we're going to get a Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre match, and somehow maybe get a Cody appearance at the end.
Well, remember, Cody's in Australia right now shooting Street Fighter. We're not going to see Cody for quite some time.
What they said that they're on a 2-week break.
What, from filming?
From filming.
I feel like he just flew over there.
No,
That's what just saying what
I just heard
that's
he
just
got
saying what Sports Illustrated reported this morning. So
Alright, maybe
that's
you're
why
right
that they're trying to keep at least
his
the
daughter
wood
was
firing.
just born like this morning or yesterday.
And that's what
too.
the pictures
Is
they
that
were
what it
posting this
is?
morning.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe it's a family type thing, but just saying.
Okay, but granted, if that is the case, though, he ain't gonna show up to a PLE instead of his bedside.
That wasn't the question. The
No,
question
I
is,
know.
What do you
I'm
think
just saying.
a match would be? Because I personally would like
Drew
to
needs
see
to be in a
regular see
match.
the Judgment Day.
Who do
Because
you
we
want to
haven't
see?
we haven't seen the Judgment Day in a couple PLEs either.
We
So
need to see a tag match. They need to stop sleeping on these tag divisions.
They
They
really
get
do.
a lot of singles matches, which is great. But if we could get either a SmackDown or, like you said, a Judgment Day versus somebody on the Raw side, I think it's a little late for Judgment Day. If you were going to get that, you would have got it Monday.
Yeah.
But I think a tag match needs to be thrown in there if you get another one.
But just a reminder, where is Dionysus? What time you guys open tonight?
So
the rest of the weekend.
So we're open tonight 4 to 9, Saturday 12 to 9, and then Sunday special hours 10 to 5.
Sunday.
Yes, and if you're ever curious, you can go to our website dionysusbrewing.com. We post all of our events, all of our specials. You can, if you're even curious about what the card is on the PLEs, we post about that as well on our website. So
Nice. What kind of food you got out there tonight?
Tonight it's called Hopeton's. It's a Jamaican food. It's honestly some of the best food I've ever had.
I had some wings of that a couple weeks ago.
the
Really,
wings are
really good. And what about Sunday?
Sunday, I am undetermined yet. We might have some smash burgers out. We'll see. We'll
nice.
see. It's up in the air right now.
They've already got me with it. Oh, and we didn't talk about this on the air. We talked about this off the air, but talk about the drink that you have
Oh,
specialized for
yeah.
Sunday.
So check this out. We made a Fruity Pebble beer slushy.
I did see that.
We garnished the rim with Fruity Pebble dust. We do chamoy inside the glass, Fruity Pebble beer slushy, and then we garnish the top of the slushy with Fruity Pebble flakes.
Just so you know, that will be the beer that I will be getting on Sunday when I get paid for my bet winning. But
there was no beer involved with that bet. It was a lunch bet.
Oh, fine. Then I'll take the food. I'll buy the beer.
I'll be drinking the Fruity Pebble drinks.
Rude. Kyle,
we
thank you so
appreciate
much,
it, Kyle.
brother.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Join us back here Monday, 7 to 9. As
No Monday.
always. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Tuesday. You're right. We are Dark Monday. I forgot it's Labor Day. We are not working on Monday. Thank God. But Tuesday, 7 to 9, we'll have KG here, run down everything from Clash of Paris, plus much, much more in the world of the NFL as we get ready for week 1, plus a rundown of all college football, as well as you'll get that on Saturday this week. Ohio State, Texas, LSU.
20 drafts this weekend.
Yep, absolutely. But until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's go home.
Let's do it.